Previously, in X-Men, Earth is caught in the sights of the Shi'ar Empire's ambitions. And the only thing that stands between saving the population of our planet and total obliteration is the X-Men. The bulk of the team is in deep space with their allies, the Starjammers, while Nightcrawler and Kitty Pryde remain as hostages aboard the Shi'ar flagship near Earth. Can the X-Men uncover the plot against Magistrix Lilandra, rescue their compatriots, and save Earth? I am Jason Lapidus.
I'm Chris Sanagan.
And we are Group of 7 Comics. Welcome to episode 68 of our never-ending Tuesday night live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic. As we read Uncanny X-Men 157, or Classic X-Men 61, cover date of May of 1982. Chris, how are you, sir?
Oh, good. I'm doing really well. Yeah, I'm excited to dive in and talk about this.
Me too.
How are you doing?
I am. I missed this last week, even though you and I did a recording last week. We did Monday night, but I missed the juice of going live and having the possibility of someone else being in the chat, you know, and
anything can happen.
Speaking of anything that can happen, on the weekend I went to a toy collector event, like a toy con, a collector con, and I ran into longtime friends of the show, David Cutman Cutler, and Jason, to me, my ex-friends, Lowe. And it was super great to run into those guys in person again. And
did you all pick up something X-related at the show?
I did, and I know that David did. I can't remember what Jason bought, but hopefully he pops into the chat and he tells us. It's very, very possible that. Oh yeah, he did. There was some X-Men comics purchased as well. So yeah, there were some action figures and some X-Men comics, including some that I got, which I'm really looking forward to adding to my collection, including like a blank sketch cover.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's a few dollars, and then I'll sketch on it and hopefully flip that for some more money to buy more comics.
See, circle gets a square, works in.
There were a lot of X-Men things, though. A ton of X-Men things. Oh, yeah. I mean, all the latest waves of figures and a lot of loose figures, too. And old 90s stuff. So you'd find, like, the retro card here. Like, I have a couple of these just ridiculously sitting here within arm's reach. Like, the retro card. I've been saving the cards. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. But from this wave.
The actual late wave from the 90s.
So the ones that these are based on, like those figures were there, and all sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff. There's a lot of X-Men stuff is really big with collectors still.
It is. And what did you pick up that you said you picked up something X-related?
David was kind enough to, after I saw that he had bought an action figure named Spiral. You know Spiral?
That's the multi-armed, sword-wielding
6 arms she has.
6 arms. It's a lot of arms.
Really great figure. Arthur Adams, designed that, and he had it. And I was like, "Oh, where'd you get it?" And he says, "Over it." Then I said, "Would you please go? Here's some money. Would you run back there while I'm at my table?" And he kindly did. It was so sweet of him. So I got Spiral as part of one of the Marvel Legends I picked up.
Is she a villain? Or
She's an antagonist, yeah. When I was a kid, she was a member of Mystique's Freedom Force, which was like a government sanctioned group that they were the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants posing as heroes, and they were called Freedom Force, which was obviously like propaganda. And it was her and Blob and Spiral and the black suited Spider Woman, blonde hair. Destiny, Pyro, like that group. So Spiral was there, and she's from like the Mojo verse.
I was gonna say she's connected to Mojo, right?
Yeah, and she can teleport too.
Okay,
so she's very formidable.
Swords, lots of swords and teleportation.
Yeah, like you don't want to mess with her. She's very, very deadly. And I think she is part of like the formative part of the transformation of the character who becomes Lady Deathstrike.
Okay.
To add all the pieces to her, like she brings that character, I think her name is Yukio, to the body shop. They call it the body shop, where they would transform. Like that's where those Hellfire goons become the Reavers, and that's where she is it Yukio or Yoriko? There are two Wolverine female like femme fatales. One is called Yukio and one is called Yuriko, and it's just I never remember which one's which. But anyway, so there's that. So she also is part of like plays a hand in her transformation. Anyway,
all right,
or six hands. So do you want to? I'm going to pull up the cover to this issue. If you want to dive in, is that okay with you, or anything you want to talk about?
Did you have I was not at a toy show. I don't have any toy show stories, so I'm good.
But maybe you did something X related on your weekend. No,
I tried to.
What was that?
But speaking of things, no. But it's funny. The Dollaramas are now selling like trades for like $5.
Yeah.
So, right, and so I looked for. I was. My family was at one, and they're like, "Oh, hey, do you want anything?" I was hoping there'd be some X books there, but there wasn't. I got a Batman and a Superman, but still,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, but now my eye, and hey, we can thank this show for that, because my eye was never on trying to find old trades of X-Men stories, but now I'm like, bring it! I want to know what happened in the year 1996.
Well. We can get there, but I did go to Dollarama and I did buy some graphic novels or trades.
What'd you get?
But they're for you.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I got one of the Snyder and Capullo Batman runs.
Oh, cool.
And then I got a Bendis Superman run.
Did you get Bloom? Which one did you get? I'm trying to remember.
Volume for Snyder and Volume 6 Graveyard Shift.
Okay.
Which is a collection of one-shots. Like, it's actually a collection of ones together.
Nice.
That are in between arcs.
Sure.
And the Bendis, I believe, is connected to that Action Comics 1000 or whatever that, when Bendis came on. But it's like, yeah, $5, sure. And that was the Cottage.
Exactly.
Like, Cottage Comics, man. I'll leave them up there. Cottage Comics.
Right.
So you're just like lazing about reading a comic.
Do you want me to show you what I got for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do.
So, one of your favorite comic books that has been adapted to animation, that you love the animation, probably the animated version of it more than most things I've seen you like in your life.
Teen Titans Go.
Is it Teen Titans? And then one of the things you and I both love is like Canadian things.
Yeah.
And there is a Canadian creator, a writer, who you and I adore, and pretty much anything that we get our hands on from him, we read. And he has a new TV series coming up on CBC Gem. So put those two things together, and you get a Jeff Lemire Teen Titans Earth 1. So it's a reinterpretation of the Teen Titans through the lens of Jeff Lemire and Terry Dodson. So
Terry Dodson,
like totally weird.
Wow, that is. Thank you in advance.
There you go. So that's a hardcover.
Like $5. Like
$5. I'm like, hey, man. And then early on in your Marvel Legends, we're going to say the word collecting. Early on in your collecting,
yes,
you came across a character for which explanation might be needed, but it speaks for itself.
Okay.
And so when I saw it, I was like, oh, Chris must get this book.
I must get this for Chris.
What is that noise outside? What could that be? It's coming from the sky. Could it be Thunderstrike?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I was like, who? That was a $5 Marvel Legend pickup. And I'm like, who is this guy? Aside from being like a Thor guy.
Right. So I get $5 is like a theme here, right?
It is.
We get Lemire, Teen Titans, $5, Thunderstrike.
Thunderstrike.
Boom.
That's awesome. Thank you in advance.
You're so welcome. There was nothing for me. There was just these books. I was like, oh, Chris has got to get these.
But like each Dollarama has like different ones.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the machinations behind how this happened over the last couple of months. But hey, again,
Yeah.
People out there, go to your I don't know, is Dollarama in the States or is it a Canadian thing?
I'm going to assume it's Canadian, but that's just me making an assumption based on nothing.
Canadians out there, go to your local Dollaramas and pick up $5 trades and books that otherwise you probably would pass over because you're not going to pay 20 or 30 for them. Right. But yeah, like a Lemire Teen Titans, done.
Why not?
Let's check that out.
So our friend Kevin, aka Toying Around, check out his YouTube channel, Toying Around. And he goes to Dollarama regularly, and he's been showing me the things he's been getting. He got a ton of Batman stuff, including like the back half of Dark Victory, which is a book you and I love.
Love Dark Victory.
Yeah, but it was book 2. So you got, you and I think have both read it as one volume.
Yes.
And
I have it as part of like the omnibus, load and sale.
Right. That's an unwieldy tome. Like
it is totally
unwieldy, unwieldy.
It's unwieldy. It's hard to wield.
Yeah, it's hard to wield. Unwieldy is something different, and unyieldy is I don't even know. But point is, there are comics to find at a reasonable price at that particular shop, which is they're all over suburban Southern Ontario. Like they're everywhere.
Totally.
Every mall seems to have the Dollarama.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. There you go.
Let's
take a look at. Here we go. We got issue 157 of Uncanny X-Men, and right away we get this crazy. Okay, what?
Totally.
Jean Grey's character dies in issue 137. Is the death of Phoenix? Spoilers. So it's been 20 issues, which is a year and a half. Right, in monthly comics since she's died, and here we get a Jean, I guess, on the cover. Like since I've been reading along, I know this is sort of aboard the Shi'ar flagship. This is the bridge, and there are members of the Imperial Guard and members of the crew, and Phoenix is like the cosmic threat or the existential cosmic threat that the Shi'ar are. Like she's part of their prophecy and their mythology,
She has history with the Shi'ar.
Right, and they killed her. Deservedly so. I mean, just to put that into the mix. So this is, it's Phoenix, but she's dead. Surely you know that a Phoenix dies only to be reborn again. DJ Ninja says that I have the Omni too, but I still haven't read the Dark Victory story. Also, hello to you as well, DJ Ninja Turtle. I can't recommend enough, reading as much Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale collaborations. There are a few, and they're all special, including Dark Victory. Long Halloween, seems to stand out as because it's the first maxi series, 12-issue Batman, going through all of the villains. Each month something new, and it's a mystery. So if it hasn't been spoiled, don't let it be spoiled. Don't watch the movie. The 2-part animated doesn't even come close. But Dark Victory is the sequel to that. Trevor 16 Shooter, gentlemen. Hello, Trevor. How are you, sir?
Sure.
Hope you're doing well. So that's kind of neat to see. Cockrum is bringing Phoenix back, and then you and I both know where this is going because we've read the issue recently,
right?
And just some things of note. I've seen it's a little bit of foreshadowing, so there's a spoiler coming, and I'm just going to hint at it. But the size and shape of Phoenix is not as bombastic as Cockrum has drawn other women other times. She's a little more slender. And I don't know if that was intentional or not. Like, she's narrow in the shoulders and relatively narrow in the hips. And it's just, I think it's notable. Maybe it's on purpose, maybe it's not. But let's compare this with what happens, 9 years later or so when this issue gets reprinted in the series X-Men Classic.
Before you check that out, I do want to say that, so every week I don't know what the next cover is going to be until I double click it in my DVD-ROM here. You know, and when this one double clicked up, you know, I had a lot of thoughts. Oh, Phoenix, but that design of Phoenix and Dark Phoenix, like with the sash, like I love that design. Like that's such a striking. I don't know. It's great. It really is. It's just the flaming red hair, and in both cases, good and bad. It is a really might be one of my favorite X character designs.
Yeah, this is Cockrum probably at his best. He loves the thigh-high boot.
Yeah, but it's in the costume. Like it's a continuation, right? It's not like Storm, for example, who has a break, boot, leg, rest of uniform, right?
And does a good job of like making it look gold.
Yeah.
Right, just the yellow and the black like reflection lines and the orange in it. And when you make this into a toy, that's because we're talking action figures. They often go with like a gold plastic mold for those pieces, and then they'll paint something gold. And they never pop as much as they do on the action figure as they do in the comics, because in the comics it's that full 100% yellow ink, and in the action figure they're like a little bit it's subdued. And to the point where, you know, they did this really great Iron Man in the classic Iron Man costume a couple of years ago, maybe just before the quarantine. And he's like, you know, he's supposed to be gold. I mean, it's the yellow and with the orange and the black. It is supposed to be red as gold.
Yes.
So they make this action figure, they paint it and mold the plastic in gold. Great action figure. A couple years later, they come out the same figure, same mold, but they do the parts yellow. And like the collector me wants the yellow one instead. It just pops so much more. And that's how I see Iron Man in that suit. It's like it's yellow and red, even though it's supposed to read as gold.
I might have, speaking of the randomness of my Marvel Legends, I might have that Iron Man with the gold, because I have it's like Iron Man modular AI or something, and it's like everything's dark. Or not it's red, it's dark, but it's not a yellow that pops, it's a dark gold.
Right.
Which is interesting.
That is another one where they went with the gold. And
okay, all right.
Reissued it again with on a retro card with the yellow. And nice. I would trade the gold ones for the yellow ones in a second. The yellow ones look better. Yeah. They're more to my taste. And it's completely subjective. But in the comics, the yellow ink with then the orange and those black reflection lines and sometimes some white highlights, it reads as gold, even though it's not actually gold. So I find it interesting. David Cutler, how are you? We were just talking about you. Hope you're well. David says, nice to hear it. You guys were pretty rough on poor Cockrum last week, and that's coming from me. Yeah, I'm not going to pull punches because he's dead. No, well, I'm just joking. He is dead, but that's not why. I'm really interested in it. I'm passionate about it, and when things aren't good to my eye, I'll say. Obviously, I totally admire any of the people that get to work on these books and they do their job, which is an amazing opportunity. And I would never knock his level of craft. That being said, I don't know. It doesn't always click with me, especially in comparison with what happens within a few short years like this.
Right.
And these two guys are speaking two different languages, right? You and I have said very often that when we look at Cockrum's work, we see the 1960s, the 50s and 60s, and he's doing his work in the 70s and into the 80s, and his work looks dated. And you get this X-Men Classic cover by Mike Mignola, inked by Peter Craig Russell. I don't know who is credited with the colors on the cover, but freaking genius. I mean, if you ask me. It's not actually simple, but it looks like it's simple. So to me, I consider when something looks simple, but it isn't simple, I consider that to be clarity. If you can take a complicated idea and communicate it in 6 words, it seems simple, but it's actually it's genius. So we've spoken before about, I mentioned this idea of depth of field, as if like layers of the image, how far back you can kind of go. And the thing that's closest to us is the back view of this Shi'ar dude, who's in silhouette almost completely. He's closest to us. So he's like in the depth of field, he's closest. So Mignola puts him in black. Does that often. It's like a really good strategy. That was an action figure falling. Pardon me. It was Wolverine. This guy. I love him. Mwah! Love him. And then you get this amazing Phoenix and the power of her as sort of like that middle, along with the other 4 characters, including Nightcrawler and Gladiator. Right? You get them in sort of the middle. And then you get in the back, like the blue crackle fading into the black energy. Like that's sort of the background. Like he's able to communicate a background without any details other than these circles that are not circle template circles either. These are just playing with shapes, and going by feel. And that Phoenix energy is not fire. It's like electric crackle. It feels really, really lively, and that it could be moving on the page while I'm looking at it. So I'm blown away by it. And then like just the color choice of I'm not going to even add red to Nightcrawler. We're going to do all the characters that aren't on fire in cool. We're going the contrast between cool and warm. Again, to communicate clearly the difference of these characters and their powers and what's happening. So I'm amazed by how he does that. And I happen to have, at least I thought I did, the original art is somewhere here, isn't it? Here. Oh. Just throwing artwork around my room. In this book, I'm just going to read some responses here from David. David says, no question. You guys mentioned that the Wolverine mini was contemporary to what's going on in X-Men now, and it's crazy to me. Yes, the Wolverine miniseries by Chris Claremont, Frank Miller, and inker Joe Rubenstein, who I have a beef with now. It is a contemporary. It's the same year as this, so that might be where Rubenstein is in this moment in time. He's not inking this because he's working on that. It's weird. X-Men didn't lose its sales momentum during this period, but I guess Dark Phoenix and Days of Future Past bought a lot of goodwill. I think so too, and I think people also were fans of Cockrum. I don't know what to say. Readers stay on for a long time. I'm going to just change the view here for a minute. I'm really sorry to everyone watching. We're going to full Lapidus cam here. So there's one of my very few artist editions. This is the IDW Marvel covers. And it features high-res scans of original art from Marvel covers from this, this time period, which is a sweet spot for me. A lot of nostalgic pieces here. And in this book, there is a scan of the original work by Mike Mignola. And Peter Craig Russell on inks. Like there's no indication as to the inks, as to what the colors should be. But you can find this image online. It's in really good condition when you check it out. So you can see all the details there. And it's neat. The pencil's still on it. So you can see quite a bit of detail. Whoops. Sorry, Chris. I booted you out for a second. You can see quite a bit of detail. And let's add this back in. Like Nightcrawler's leg into the flame is still there. The guy in the foreground, his feet have been repositioned a couple times. That jerk commander of the vessel, his legs are there. And then they're just Phoenix's fire is just overlaps it. There's a lot of little details that are, you can still see right through, which is really cool to spot. Changes to Jean's hair, or Phoenix's hair, I should say. It's awesome. But he just is able to do a lot with a little, and I think that's a sign of a good communicator. Yeah, he drives me a little crazy.
It looks pretty neat.
Yeah, it's hard not to let myself get very, very, very influenced by his work. All right, let me pull that out. Cool. All right, dude. Thanks for your patience and indulging me with that. I could look at Mike Mignola's art all day long. I also love, by the way, how the yellow of I'm putting it back on. How the yellow fades. How it goes from white up into the full yellow, over the course of the Phoenix. That's very cool. All right. You ready to
Okay.
read some comics, my friend?
Let's dive into this.
Head first. See, that's when I see this ad, it's like hits the button because I'm starting to get comics at this point. A little
Right.
here and there, like reading stuff. And I remember that ad being like a regular. And it's called Scotty. So we've got Hide and Seek. Ugh. Writer Chris Claremont, Dave Cockrum and Bob Wiacek on art duties, and Janice Chang lettering, who's come a long way over the last bunch of issues. We've seen some of her earlier stuff where the lettering was really dodgy, and it's much better now. Yeah, and I don't know Don Warfield, but he's on colors. I'm reading it today in black and white. I'm reading it in the Essentials edition.
Gotcha.
So I don't.
Which
I'm seeing colors for
Essentials
the
volume
first time.
is it in? Which
Volume
Essentials?
3. Essentials Volume 3, which is Uncanny X-Men 145 to 161 and 4 of the annuals. No, 3 of the annuals, pardon me. Annual 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Just inside the orbit of Pluto, over 10 billion kilometers from Earth, and far below the plane of the ecliptic. What?
Oh,
What's
just
funny about that?
It's Claremont.
It is. The Starjammer floats, motionless in deep space. Damaged during her recent escape from a force of unknown aliens, she is undergoing necessary repairs at the hands of her crew, likewise called Starjammers, and their passengers, the Uncanny X-Men. Both teams are heroes in the truest sense of the word, yet, ironically, to their respective cultures, both are outlaws. As a result, theirs have been hard, dangerous lives.
Both are freebooters.
And
How
here,
much longer? What's that?
I was going to say, and here, we get another space scene from Dave Cockrum where, like, he just does not want to use a ruler. He's not notoriously fast. He's one of the slower guys that could do a monthly book, which is, by the way, a really fast thing to be able to do. But his designs are all very round and organic and don't allow us a lot of opportunity to get a sense of scope,
right,
and scale.
Yes, it's very difficult.
He's not like a master of that aspect of these visuals. So you think about the 1982 viewers have been treated to. I'm going to put it maybe in chronological order.
Okay.
Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is like groundbreaking space sequences in it. The use of models, the pace, the sense of grandeur. Okay, 1977, Star Wars. That opening sequence is still cited by so many people as being like a jaw-dropping moment. Blew everyone's minds at, again, the scope and scale of these things. And then you think about the exterior of those, of both the Death Star and the Imperial Star Destroyers. They're not smooth. Like the crew that built those models worked so intricately to create the Millennium Falcon too, like the texture, all those little pieces to create these layers of exterior hull. You get Blade Runner, those exterior shots. You get Alien and those exterior shots, all that model work. Empire Strikes Back in 1980. I think audiences in 1982 are just not the same as they were in 1962.
Yeah.
Those old Flash Gordon movie serials or Flash Gordon strips.
Or, something like Lost in Space.
Right. It's just not enough anymore. And, you go 10 years from this point and the artists are blowing minds with how much attention they'll spend on pages like this, where he just is kind of going quick.
Yeah.
And it fails to impact. You ready?
Yes, I agree. How much longer, Corsair? Each second we delay brings the Earth closer to its destruction.
The job has to be done right, Cyclops. You know that. In space, especially in our line of work, there is no margin for error. We're moving as fast as we can and doing the best we can. We'll have to be content with that.
Father,
call
son,
each other
outing.
father and son, yeah.
Father, son.
But
outing.
this is like, I think, an example of where the editorial mandate of using characters' brand names supersede normal human interaction.
Right.
Normally, this operation would be carried out by the ship's robots, or robots, under the direction of the prime computer Waldo. But to save time, the X-Men are lending a hand. Colossus, in his super strong armored form, peels back hunks of hull plating. By the way, if you can bend these hull plates, is that a bad thing? Like, wouldn't you have to heat it to bend it?
I'm trying to
Maybe.
think of like the science behind it.
Shouldn't that crack?
Shouldn't that right? Those kinds of things, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not an expert in in alien ship repair around the
Not yet, anyway.
orbit of Pluto.
You still got your past your classes.
I got some time. While Wolverine, extruding adamantium claws from their housings in his forearms through apertures in the backs of his hands, and finally through special gaskets in his pressure suit, cuts the wreckage free. Now, that sentence could also be, while Wolverine cuts the wreckage free.
At what point, and I mean, I know it's editorial policy in a sense of, everyone's comic could be someone's first comic, and so you state what perhaps the audience already knows, or at least the loyal readership knows. But at what point do we stop getting panels explaining adamantium claws jumping from Wolverines?
I don't know, but I would imagine it's when Shooter's gone.
Okay.
But we'll see. Hopefully we're still doing this show and we'll see the transition.
Gotcha.
It also might be that the people that take on the writing duties see a value in that and they continue with it. Or editors want to see it still, even though that Shooter's gone. Or that it feels like the Marvel brand, even going into the 90s. I do not know.
Right.
But I'm with you on this journey, brother. I'm with you.
Thanks, Bill.
Then, Raza, one of the Starjammers, uses a magna beam to shunt the debris through an access hatch to the ship's converters, where it will be recycled for future use.
Very sustainable.
Yeah, thinking green. I like that. Okay, cool.
Okay. Wolverine, my friend. I have never seen so many stars. It is a glorious sight.
Enjoy it, bub. You're probably one of the first people, certainly the first Russian, to see the Milky Way from this angle.
And to know that there is life out there, that humanity is not alone in the universe.
If we aren't lucky, Petey, humanity may soon be dead.
I have not forgotten. Nor have I forgotten how close I came to my own death. That was perhaps made me appreciate the endless wonder of life all the more.
You're a poet, Colossus.
Tovarish Wolverine, I wish I was.
As they move along the hull, Colossus winces with unaccustomed pain and absently rubs his chest. A miracle. The Starjammers' advanced medical technology healed his mortal wounds only hours ago. Since then, he has fought and worked as if he was in perfect health. As he strains to lift another section, he wonders belatedly if that was a mistake. Then, without warning...
An explosion! Wolverine!
Relax, Petey. I'm okay. My suit's intact. I'm not losing any atmosphere. Or, wait a minute. My backpack thrusters have ignited. I can't shut them down. They're shooting me away from the ship.
No fear, A-plane. Rescue imminent. Too much clutter around the ship. Tiny target like Wolverine can hard to scan. If visual contact lost, take forever to find him again. Time we cannot spare.
She kind of talks like Yoda.
Kind of, yeah. I wonder if
Kind
that plays an influence. And I like how her tail has like
its
an
own part of the
armored
suit.
section. Articulated tail, pressurized suit.
Yeah.
Behind Mademoiselle Hepzibah, Colossus struggles to rise.
My chest, I cannot feel. So empty, hollow. It's so hard to think. No, not again. This cannot be happening to me. Again.
Only to find he cannot. Poor guy.
Worthy, relax, body.
Huh? What are you doing, lady? Why didn't you just send a tug or shuttle to pick me up?
Mechanisms needed elsewhere. Easier, quicker, more certain to do job myself. Also more fun. Raza, present for you, warrior.
Fine, sweetheart. You rescued me. Who's gonna save you?
Leave that to me, buddy. Watch.
Trevor says, I feel like they dispensed with the basic power descriptions around the time that Jim Lee started and Claremont was on the way out. So
Gotcha.
we'll keep an eye on that, you know?
Yeah, we're going to get there eventually. So
Totally. Just looking at this, I'm thinking about some homework I did with my daughter. She was doing a project on space, and we were talking about how beautiful and colorful space can be if you want to not do black. Like there was so much color out there. Once you kind of leave, you look at the photographs from the telescopes, the deep space telescopes, and it's amazing. And I recognize that this is a faster way to do it, but this page has, that really light blue, the yellow, and the red, and there's like nothing else going on. Could have been really cool, but it's okay. I get it. Just as a full page, it's a little bit boring to look at. Trevor adds, but maybe they just stopped. Maybe I just stopped paying as much attention to the descriptions. That's very possible. You might have just read over them, because you kind of know them off by heart. Jedi Crack Smoke says, cool fucking live stream idea. This is great. You know what? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jedi Crack Smoke.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. We're having fun doing this. It's been a crazy year.
I also love how in this we see him. So Sion, watch, and then he shoots his optic beam at her butt.
And it doesn't hurt her, right? And Corsair says, very nice, son. I am impressed.
Thanks, Dad. Practice makes perfect.
Yep.
Sentiments echoed by self. Good work.
My pleasure.
Ha! Boy is swashbuckler and gallant. Corsair, like father, like son.
Corsair, Cyclops, to my side at once.
What's the matter? What's the matter, Chode? Colossus!
Minutes later, in the Starjammers infirmary, when he lost consciousness, he automatically reverted to human form. His condition is serious, Sikorsky.
See that myself, I can.
Cripes, he's flaming bleeding again.
Warned he was.
Sorry.
Wounds critical, rest required. Stubborn he is like most humans. Now price is paid. Tsk. Bleeding internally, surgery required. Most difficult will be. Assistance, storm required. Others depart.
I'll prepare Peter for surgery, Sikorsky. May I assist you?
Offer appreciated, Xavier, but size skills yours elsewhere required are
sorry.
are appraised. Will I keep you all of boy's condition?
Okay, just pause for a second there. If you just look at this panel, besides the fact that like the background is there's nothing. You don't have to have background in every panel. But you could have, if you're gonna do nothing, you don't have to do the same color as every other panel. Like, you can throw another neutral kind of down there, which is fine. But if you look at the artwork, remembering like we know about that this is done Marvel method, which means the plot is discussed between Claremont and Cockrum. Claremont takes notes on the conversation, gives the notes to Cockrum after their conversation. Cockrum then goes and draws it, and then when Claremont gets it back drawn, he then writes the script, meaning he writes the dialogue.
Right.
So in this panel, who do you think Cockrum thought was going to talk?
That other, you mean as like the healer?
In panel 3, who do you think Cockrum drew anticipating dialogue? Xavier for sure.
Yeah.
Xavier is like leaning
Well, it looks like
forward.
Cyclops has his mouth open.
Right. Cyclops looks like he's saying something, and Storm does not.
No.
So I wonder if initially that was like where the mind was at, that like Cyclops is going to say something, and like Sikorsky's going to get the second line. Like first line is like Cyclops going, "I'll prepare Peter for surgery, Sikorsky,"
Yeah.
and then he's like, "No thanks," and they switch it around maybe because of reasons. But I find that interesting that sometimes you see these little nuances, like, oh, the artist is trying to lead it one way and the writer is redirecting it. It's kind of a fun tennis match. Anyway, and Trevor, of course, is reminding us, like, when father and son talk to each other, once in a while Scott should call his own dad Mister. Yeah. Jedi crack smoke. Did I say Jedi smoke crack before? Is Jedi crack
no,
smoke?
I think you said Jedi crack smoke.
From one Jason to another, you've got a voice that can make a Wolverine purr. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, a new favorite character, Chris.
Sikorsky.
Yes, you're Sikorsky. As long as you don't offend all the other Sikorskys out there.
That's right.
Like your Banshee was. We were getting hate mail from the Irish.
It's a good thing he's not in the book anymore.
No, but luckily all the hate mail from the Irish were limited to just Irish stereotype people. Like individuals who are walking stereotypes. They were the ones. But real human beings were not actually offended. Just the stereotype ones. Just like the Lucky Charms mascot. He was really upset.
He was, Good thing he's small, though. I could hold my own. Let's go, people. There's no more we can do here.
Bull. Petey's a friend, Bug, and I ain't leaving him.
Sentiment admirable, regrettable, misplaced physician. I am best for patient. I know what. Asking, am not telling for last time. Scoot.
Hey, where'd you learn that weird Earth slang, Scoot? Hey. He gets thrown out the door.
That's great.
Like, Wolverine's the best there is at what he does.
Except he's met his match in Sikorsky.
Yes.
So just let's all remember, as we love the character Wolverine from this point on, just remember he met his match with that flying dragonfly robot.
Just picked him up by the scruff of his neck.
How come no one's
done
done this
door?
Sikorsky figured Wolverine out right at the beginning.
Another comment just about Cockrum's designs. Like, these suits are, again, they're just, sort of skin tight with a couple lines denoting articulation, which really is a metal style of like that early Iron Man, like, the Mark III Iron Man armor, and like Doctor Doom, like those really early on kind of, and Ultron. But man, oh man, within just a few years, you get exoskeleton suits from comic creators. These are quick. This is something I would draw happily.
Happily draw for our books.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Excellent.
They're not that challenging in terms of their look. Right. So Scoot, that's too funny.
Wolverine, I know how you feel.
Then help me trash this door, Scotty. The rescue needs us. Sikorsky saved him once, Wolverine. We must trust him to do so again. It's this bloody waiting, Charlie. It's driving me nuts. We're not doing Petey. Please continue that sentence. We're not doing Petey or the flaming Earth any good. We're just sitting on our duffs.
So I only have one robot voice, so this is the second robot. So instead, I'm going to do it like a Jarvis. Pardon my intrusion, but your presence is requested in the bridge.
A hologram in the middle of the corridor. Heeding Waldo's summons, X-Men and Starjammers rush to the nerve center of the giant vessel. Awaiting them with the prime computer is Lilandra Magistrix Shi'ar, ruler of a galactic empire, and, in addition, true love of Charles Xavier, founder and mentor of the X-Men.
And this is Lilandra speaking, right?
I believe so.
Okay. I use the Imperial comlink in my private code to reach Chancellor Araki. Once I assure him that I'm free and unharmed, he'll call off the punitive strike against Earth. Contact was established. He acknowledged my initial transmission, but now he won't answer. I've been calling for minutes without reply. I fear something may have happened.
He's ghosting her.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
Across the solar system, in a cabin aboard the flagship of the Shi'ar Task Force now orbiting the Earth.
Araki, this is Lilandra. Please respond. Can you hear me, my lord? Is anything the matter?
I fear, Magistrix, that you have had your last conversation with your beloved Chancellor. A pity he did not listen to reason. We were friends, and slaying a friend is always distasteful. By the way, don't make friends with someone who knows the feelings of slaying friends. You know what I'm saying, Chris? Of all the friends I've killed, I've never enjoyed it, but I keep killing friends.
Keep killing friends.
Command deck, this is Admiral Lord Samadar. Summon the battle staff as soon as the stated deadline has expired. We will execute Chancellor Araki's orders and obliterate the Earth.
That is a sizable hole in Iraqi, by the way.
Yeah.
That is, yeah, wow. There's no chest left. No chest.
No, he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Contact has been broken, and now the Imperial subspace frequencies are being jammed. I cannot reach any ship in the task force.
Sounds grim.
Thanks, Chode. Corsair. Isn't there anything we can do?
Once we're finished, we can reach local Earth space in seconds. But until then, son, we're immobilized. I'm sorry, Scott.
Professor, what about a telepathic mind link with Nightcrawler and Kitty?
Okay, I have to interrupt, of course.
Yes.
So one of the things that I need to do, like doing voice work in this context, doing voice work anyway must be really challenging. Switching between characters with like no rehearsal, no prep.
Sure.
I find this challenging as well. And I find with some of the characters that I get to read regularly, I have like anchor words that help me remember like where I want them to be. And when I don't have that word in mind, I often don't have the character's voice.
Right.
So the word that I actually use for Professor X is Magneto. That's my word. Because in the cartoon, he's like, Magneto. Like, like the animated series, Professor X, when he says Magneto, it brings me into that vocal space every time. And I'm so tickled by the fact that his first words are, Magneto, our arch foes, alteration of the terrestrial magnetic field prevented me from employing long-range psionic communication. But with you X-Men on Earth. But here, that obstacle does not exist. It's certainly worth a try. Xavier has been called the strongest mutant mind on Earth. One of the most powerful ever born. By the way, this is weird to read in the order.
Super weird. And the coloring does not help. With the borders, the kind of psi world that he's in.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful ever born. And today he proves that statement is no boast as he reaches across half a star system to 2 X-Men being held hostage aboard the Shi'ar flagship. The effort is considerable considering his total concentration. In the process, Xavier senses an anomaly within himself. Oh my God. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Like I didn't know that was coming. That's really cool. Something alien, unknown, and so profoundly disturbing that he interrupts the mindlick to probe it. That proves to be a mistake.
Charles!
Ah! That scream, what happened?
I do not know. Cyclops, he lies so still as he... He's breathing. That's about it. Let's get him to sickbay. Fast. Looks like Sikorsky's got himself another patient.
Magneto.
More Sikorsky. We want more Sikorsky.
Meanwhile, in interstellar space lies a clan ship of the Brood, badly wounded during Corsair's escape. Quick comment from last issue. We saw a drawing of this that was massive. A double-page spread, which I thought did a good job of scale, even though there aren't any straight lines. It seemed to work really. It just seemed huge. And we've been interacting with the Brood in those issues, I guess the last two. And they're pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Iridescent fluid, the great creature's blood, boils from a cruel gash in his flank, and he keens his pain softly, mindlessly to himself. So note, that's the male of the species.
Mm.
The injury will heal eventually, but the pain will never leave, for that is how the Brood controls their living starship. And as for the ship, he endures because he has no choice, no brain with which to even dream of freedom. The Brood destroyed that part of him ages ago, when they captured him and made him their slave. I have to admit I'm identifying with this, the idea that the part of the brain that has choice and freedom is gone. I feel the same sometimes. Help me, Chris.
I'll try.
Thank you. The Brood are not a forgiving race, nor do they like losing. As for their erstwhile ally Deathbird, is discovering. By the same token, however, neither does she.
I am of the Eyrie, the royalness of Shi'ar. I was firstborn, wing leader of the Dawn Flight. You hold me, you defy me, at your peril.
Hey, Grill, surely a cadre of warriors prime can cope with a single mammal.
Your second in command cannot answer you, clan master, nor can his cadre.
You cannot slay us all, Deathbird.
Perhaps, but you will not live to see me fall.
Point well taken. I propose a truce.
A sensible decision. Why did your warriors attack me? We are sworn allies.
With all respect, Renegade, you could not have done us more harm had you been our deadliest foe. As I recall, Deathbird, you pledged that our association would prove mutually beneficial. Instead, thanks to you, my vessel is near crippled. I have suffered innumerable casualties among warriors and breeders, and your own much-touted revolt against your sister, Lilandra, seems in imminent danger of collapse. The Brood backs winners, Deathbird.
Then, Kamanahar, I have nothing to fear. This computer module contains genetic scans of Lilandra's consort, Xavier, and his pupils, taken during our fight on Earth and aboard your clan ship. They are mutants, each gifted with unique abilities that set them apart from the rest of their race.
Spawn of the Blood Moon, never have I seen such readings. As breeders, they would serve the mother of us all herself. We must have them, Deathbird, at any cost.
Leave that to me.
Very well, renegade. But it seems you have not yet outlived your usefulness to our cause. Succeed in this, and no reward will be denied you. Fail, however.
Either way, alien, you will slay me or worse. I knew that from the moment we met. But I am a survivor clan master. Before I am through, it is you who will beg me for mercy. A mercy that will be denied!
50,000 kilometers above the Pacific,
No.
hidden from detection by a vast, sophisticated array of cloaking devices, the Shi'ar battle fleet orbits the Earth. And aboard the flagship...
And as a costume captain, as rich you're using the sheer clothes-making gizmo, you soon wear the poor machine out.
I haven't been playing, Kurt. You know that. I've been using the costumer to tap into the ship's prime computer. How can you sit so calmly? We just saw a videotape of Colossus being killed. The professor's mind call was broken off mid-sentence, and now we're unable to contact Chancellor Araki to tell him what the Lalandra told us, that Lalandra is okay. We've got to do something.
I am doing something, Kitty. The data you fight from the ship's computers, I've been able to rig a portable costumer. And, what's that?
The ship's being called to battle stations. Nightcrawler, the deadline must be up. They're going to destroy Earth.
Not as we can help it if I'd catch him.
Yeah. Quickly, she programs the costumer to create a new outfit, and when it's finished...
You sure you'll be all right?
No, but that won't stop me. I'm an X-Man. You guys are depending on me. I won't let you down.
Good luck, Kitty.
With a farewell hug, Kitty takes a deep breath and phases through the observation blister into the vacuum of space. I'm an X-Man. I'm a kid. What the heck am I doing here? I've never been so scared in my life. At least this skin suit will protect me from the temperature and radiation, and its grip soles will hold me to the hull. Too bad the costumer couldn't whip up any air tanks. I'm stuck with what's in my lungs, which means I can't goof off. The view, that's so beautiful. That's New Guinea. Headhunters below, starships above. How's that for an absolute contrast? That seems a little dated. Headhunters below. Maybe we don't dwell on that. Okay, move on, Jason. Yeah, wow. All the internal walls of our cells were shielded against our mutant powers. The hull, though, was left unprotected. Nightcrawler could have easily teleported outside, but since he can only port to a location he can see, or one he knows perfectly, he wouldn't be able to get back in, which is why things are up to me. There is an emergency airlock down the hull. Hope I can reach it. My chest is starting to ache. Phew! Just like I figured, the lock is deserted. So is the corridor leading to it. When Kurt and I were left as hostages, Professor Xavier telepathically implanted all his knowledge of the Shi'ar into my head. That included the schematics of this tub. I can find my way around blindfolded, I hope. That's a weird-looking face he drew, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Maybe move that mouth. Maybe shrink those eyes a little bit.
I was gonna say, the scale's a bit wonky.
Yeah. There's our cell. Whoops, company.
We are to take no chances. Okay. When I open the door, spray the compartment with blaster fire. Damn it, Jake, listen to me. Admiral Lord Samdar wants both of the barbarians eliminated. Okay, ready? Hey, boss, what are we doing here?
Okay, since we're paused already for the giggle. I actually really love these kind of plot things where this was set up. Like, none of this is happening. This isn't Deus Ex Machina. Like, they set up to separate the characters a couple issues back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been a couple of, like, really, it's 2 issues ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of the costumer, it seemed like it was nothing, right? But Kitty takes something and turns it into an advantage, like an asset. And they set up the blister window that she was in, like that,
Mhm.
you know, and it's just it's a good setup, and that you think the weakest member is not going to be able to make a difference, and then, you know, flip the script. I'm a big fan of this kind of thing.
Totally. Hey, also take a look at that Marvel Supermart page, just
Yes.
because if you go to the very bottom,
Right.
they have the locations in Canada.
Yes.
And so one is in Victoria, BC, Island Fantasy.
Yeah, it's there for a long time in comics, like in comics in the 80s. You always could see Island Fantasy.
Okay. Comic Book Collector in London, Ontario.
Right.
And then Queen's Comics in Toronto.
Right. Is it 1962 Queen Street East?
It is 1962 Queen East, which is, you know, Riverdale over to Leslieville towards the beaches, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I think that's I don't think we are aware of a Queen's Comics that is still in existence.
No. But it's interesting to think about, like, what happens to those stores, and like where did that collection go? What store bought it up?
Right.
You know?
Right. and how many of these stores in here do any of them still exist as brick and mortar locations?
I mean, considering this is 40 years old, like,
I know
how many of these stores have gone on that long? Thanks to things like Cartoonist Kayfabe, where they talk about comic stores a lot that they visit. You know, I'm a little more familiar with the names of American stores than I used to be even 3 years ago.
Okay.
So it's kind of neat to think about going through these, but it's very, very small for me to see this at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, I see one that I know.
Okay.
And so does Trevor. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, in Syracuse. Dream Days shop in Syracuse. I'm just looking to where I can make my screen. I'll lose the view of the chat for the sake of this.
Sure.
So in Pennsylvania, Eides Comics. It's like EIDE.
EIDE in Pittsburgh.
Eides, yeah, that's where Ed went as a kid.
Okay.
Like he talks about Eides regularly, Ed Piskor, that is, which is kind of fun to think about. And I'm looking through California to see if I recognize any of these.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. I mean, obviously, I could waste everybody's time by reading through all of these things. But it is neat to see and to wonder which ones are still around. I feel like Quality Comics is still there, but I don't know what that's based on.
Right.
Just instinct, but I don't actually know. Anyway, there you go.
There you go. I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Kind of interesting. All right. And I say so also because we talked about, 40 years. One of our beloved local stores here in Guelph, Ontario, the Dragon, which you and I are hugely fond of and are big fans of, and their ownership is fantastic, and they've supported us since day one. They are celebrating their 25th anniversary this year as a brick and mortar store. So that's kind of a cool thing just to think about. 25 years as a business and as a brick and mortar comic book store in a smaller city, outside of Toronto. So
right. And Silver Snail was around in different ownership, but there were Silver Snails around in Toronto.
Yes.
Probably as early as this time. Definitely by 85. There were at least 2 locations in Toronto then. So, it's crazy to think about a store being around, especially in this particular niche of comic book stores being around for 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. The Beguiling. I wonder when that one started.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
It's been around a while.
All right. Now.
By the Black Nebula. Nightcrawler, look out. They're here to kill us.
Kitty.
One facet of Kitty's ability to phase through solid objects is that whenever she does so, she disrupts any electronics systems in her path. As the three Imperial assassins immediately discover.
My combat armor short-circuiting.
The other one! I missed him! Where'd he go?
Where'd he go?
The answer is as quick as it is painful.
I love seeing that. I love the multiple BAMPs to take out multiple goons.
It's a great idea, and I'm just going to take a dump on this for a second.
Sure.
It could have been so much cooler.
It was, sorry, what's that?
It could have been so much cooler.
Oh, it could have been. And it has been cooler. We've seen it cooler for sure.
So all three guys are kind of occupying the same space.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one getting hit anyway, they all look like they're almost getting punched from the same area, like from the middle. But if this is your page, man, like maybe make this the biggest panel on the page.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most exciting part. So maybe go widescreen and show Nightcrawler moving across a little bit of space. So he's got 5 teleports in on this page. Sorry, 6 on the full page, but 5 in the panel. Maybe I don't know. It's got to be a more creative way to do it than having it as just a square, like 1/3 of the page. Or sorry, 1/6 of the page. I don't know. I just think it could have been cooler. Meh. Anyway.
Meh. Men of steel and jaws of glass, my kind of foe. At least now as we know the Admiral's intentions. Are you okay, Kitty?
Uh-huh.
We'll leave the rifles. There's too big and cumbersome. Here's a hand blaster and the mini version of the costumer I was building, programmed with the designs we agreed on.
This is a crazy plan, Kurt. Do you think it'll work?
We'll never know until we try.
Let's find Iraqi and pray he believes us.
Chancellor, mein Gott!
Kurt, is he?
Ja, Katchen, I'm afraid so. Come away, child. He is beyond help. He was murdered, and I have a nasty feeling about who's responsible.
The Admiral. I never liked that creep anyway. But he commands the fleet. How can we stop him?
The Imperial Guard. They're loyal to Lelandra, and convincing them should be simple. We'll just let the telepath Oracle read Xavier's message in our minds.
Kurt, how do we know they're loyal?
In truth, Kitty, we don't. But we have no one else to turn to.
Okay, I like this idea too of taking the biggest, arguably the biggest physical threat of your enemy, and again flipping it in your favor. Mm-hmm. I just wish they didn't reveal that they were going to do that.
Right.
Like if he says, "I've got an idea," there is someone I think we can talk to,
right?
Or I have a hunch or something, and leave it hanging for a minute, because now I don't know. I think it takes us far ahead, but I like the idea that these two characters have an agenda. Like they've said, they have a design that they're going to use. Mm-hmm. They haven't hinted at all in the issue, so we don't really know what she's going to try. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a really cool idea, but they shouldn't tell us that they're going to go talk to Oracle.
Yeah.
At that moment, on the bridge, target our missiles against the major population centers.
Admiral, it is my understanding that we were to locate the Empress, then effect her release with the Imperial Guard, not engage in a punitive strike. Should not Chancellor Iraqi be present?
That understanding is incorrect, Captain. Chancellor Iraqi is, let's just say in quotation marks with my fingers, indisposed. I command this operation. You have your orders, Captain. Obey them.
Main batteries locked on targets, ready to fire.
I love that you got these random alien things and one female there with just standing, doing nothing. But before the fateful command can be given, what?
Explosions! I see flames, and the bridge is filling with smoke. Science officer, are we on fire? Is this an attack?
Big Bamf. Shara and Kittery preserve us. Now, did you ever get to listen to that episode where Kevin used this voice effect thing?
I think so.
It was so ridiculous. Do you want to try reading at the same time?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to go high and whispery, and you go
Low and gravelly. Okay.
And we'll see what happens.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
You do well to call upon your gods, Lord Samadar. For only they can save you from my wrath.
Phoenix! The evil one! But that's impossible! She's dead!
Surely, Admiral, you know that a phoenix does only to be reborn. Terra is my home, Shiar. You threaten it at your own peril. You shall not be warned again.
You guys are all missing out on seeing Chris's face read this. I can see you on the bottom of my screen. I have all like the video options. Your face is amazing. I should just sabotage you. And
You should.
while you're reading, I should.
It's
read
like I'm in
full
the
screen.
booth.
Yes, you're using a full mouth extension, like you're like all your teeth are being shown with every syllable. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's for the show, man.
Yes, yes. With that, she disappears in a blinding flash of light and smoke. Bamf. And we get a cool effect of, Phoenix going through the floor. Giggling as she slips ghost-like through a half-dozen decks. In her wake, she leaves a crew of stunned, disbelieving, and in many cases, terrified Imperials. That is Gladiator, by the way.
That's
yeah,
right.
it's in color. Shit. So yeah, you knew that.
I knew that. Mind scan the ship, Oracle, and space around. Mind scan the ship, Oracle, and space around us. Whatever that entity was, find it.
Gladiator, if it was truly Phoenix, what will we do? What can we do?
I don't know. When last we fought, it took the entire Imperial Guard to bring her down. And even then, only because she allowed it.
Bamf. And I love that we see like Nightcrawler's hand coming out in the last panel, the first panel of the page. He's like,
Oh,
reach
yeah,
up,
that is his hand.
I'm going to take you. It's
really
good.
I shouldn't even notice
So-
it right now.
This is why I don't think you need them to say that she can scan, is because he says it now.
Yes, right.
And that might be all we need. By the way, I think we're getting some claps from Trevor. I'm going to assume that's for our reading as Phoenix. I'm hoping that's what it is.
I hope so. Merciful gods, if she is reborn, we may all be as good as dead. Hurry up with that scan, Oracle. Oracle.
Elsewhere,
I knew this port would be rough. It always is when I carry a passenger. I was prepared, and even then the transition nearly tore me apart. I feel awful. The trip was as hard on Oracle too.
I'm going to read this like Nicolas Cage
Yes.
and in the order that I want.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Who, what, where?
Don't be afraid, Nicolas Cage. We mean no harm.
Hiya, Kurt. Did you see my performance? It was fantastic. Things went better than we hoped. They believed me. They thought I was really Phoenix. No. Wait. Hey, wait, don't run.
She still believes you. Stop her, Kitty.
Groggy and weak from her teleportations, Oracle finds herself unable to telepathically summon assistance and barely able to stand, let alone run.
You know what's funny here? You know how I was saying at the beginning, like the design of Phoenix and Dark Phoenix, I dig in the sash. It's also clear that Cockrum might be running out a bit of ideas because he's given Oracle a sash too. And I just thought in that second last panel, they're sashing it out, both of them.
Yeah, he has certain design
little
like
design
tropes that he goes back to, like the headdress, like that that thing that Storm wears one too, and the swashbuckler boots and gloves, those kinds of pieces for sure. But it works. I find in this case it works. Like look at even Gladiator, right? He wears I believe thigh highs and his like arm, like bicep high glove cut. Yeah, it's his style.
Sweet mohawk though.
What'd you say?
It's a sweet mohawk though.
It is a very, very intense mohawk.
Yeah.
It is a statement. But nonetheless, she tries nonetheless, even though she doesn't get very far. By the way, when you're trying to make friends with somebody and they're running away, definitely football tackle. Like
definitely just right to the midsection.
Yeah. Painful stuff. So do you agree that he's drawing Phoenix with less curves, by the way, because it's Kitty? If you go back one page.
I mean, I guess you're right. Yeah, I mean, certainly a smaller body type.
It does look smaller to me. Like, look at her when she's standing in front of everybody. She doesn't look curvaceous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's conscious.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if it is, then I think he's pulling it off.
Sure. Trevor says that sashes were in that year. 82, the year of the sash.
Ooh. Just ask our good friend Bonham. He's got quite the sash, that jaunty old ice snow thing.
Stop fighting, Oracle. I'm not Phoenix. I'm Kitty. Please listen to us. Help us. Before it's too late for your people as well as ours. Empress Lilandra is alive and well. Oh, I'm reading her too. Forgive me.
Are.
What? Am I to take the word of a child desperate to save her world? You're a telepath, dummy. Read my thoughts. Probe as deep as you like. I've got nothing to hide. That's after a moment's wary hesitation, still suspecting a trap, Oracle does as she bid. That is incorrect. Do we agree?
Oracle does as she as bid. Yeah.
Is that correct?
No.
Does as she is bid?
As she is bid, I think.
And a moment after that.
Gladiator, Starbolt, to me at one. Oh, that's her, right? Sorry.
That's the micromanagers in the Lego movie. Gladiator, Starbolt, to me at once. Oracle. Soon.
What's Starbolt's gonna sound like?
He sounds like you did the funny micromanager voice. I like it.
Oh, I'm not convinced. Still, this would explain the Admiral's recent unusual behavior.
I think it's Nightcrawler next.
Yeah.
I can show you Chancellor Araki's body. It's right here.
That brutal nothing you could not explain him yourself.
Their story is easily confirmed. We simply postpone the bombardment of Earth long enough to establish contact with the Starjammer and the Magistrix. Whatever we decide, we'd best do it quickly. I'm scanning the command deck. They're preparing to attack. They're preparing once more to attack.
Kitty's now in a Robin Hood outfit.
Yes, she is.
Samdar, a traitor? He's an ambitious man. I suppose for the right price and the right odds, even he might be tempted. If so, we have a problem. He's accompanied by a contingent of Imperial Guard. Borderers?
Mm-hmm.
Borderers. Rural juror, whose loyalty may be to him rather than the Empire.
There is no may about it, Gladiator.
Samadar, Lord!
Horrified, but how did he find us? How could he have known?
I am a careful man. That is how the ambitious survive. When you slipped away just now, I had a spy eye follow you.
What?
Spy
A new order is about to embrace the Shi'ar, and, of necessity, those who have no place in it will be eliminated. This is your last hurrah, gladiator. Make it a fight worth remembering. Warstar!
This is like the weird guy inside
It's
here.
like the cat guy that you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mechanoid symbiote has not come alone. But no matter the odds, we shall prevail.
A proud boast. A proud boast. Really, but a hollow one.
That's terrible.
I like that one dude in the. Oh, you okay?
Oh, let's go.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, we see Warstar again because he fought Colossus for a bit there with Wolverine.
Yep, a lot of these characters we've seen.
Yeah. That hussar remains to be seen.
I believe it's pronounced Hussar.
Oh, it could be Hussar.
I'm just joking around. A single punch cripples Warstar, while by Gladiator's side, Starbolt rakes the chamber with the ultra energy beams that are his namesake. In the literal blink of an eye, the room dissolves into absolute chaos. And as usual, our heroes find themselves in the thick of it.
Kitty, what are you doing?
I want to help. I can fight too. Whoops.
It's not here, and not this way. What happens to us isn't important, Gretchen. What good will it do to win this battle if in the meantime the Earth is destroyed? Computers are the heart of any spacecraft. Without them, the ship and Scimitar are helpless. Find the central core, Kitty. Put it out of action, you giant computer nerd. Move!
Girl, look out! Webwing! Eh?
Yikes.
Slop.
That is nuts.
How many gross sounds can we make in our mouths? Yeah, there it is.
And then we get one that I can't read.
Yeah.
Just that.
I believe it to really get there.
Eat your heart out, Doug Henning. Do you want to explain who Doug Henning was?
Well, so no, because I actually forget. I just know the name's a name.
Like a magician?
He's a Canadian magician too, by the way.
Right.
Oh gosh, look at I just googled it. Oh my goodness, look at Doug Henning.
Don't even look at Doug Henning.
I
Did he
will.
go into politics eventually?
He did, and I can't not now look at Doug Henning. He's from Winnipeg, but he died in Los Angeles.
Well, there you go.
Anyway,
looking at some of those slimoids, you know she's friends with like Tatooine era Anakin Skywalker.
yeah.
Okay, slimoid. Looking at some of those slimoids is bad enough, but having them grab me, yuck. This dreadnought's huge. If I follow the corridors, I'll never reach the central core in time. But I've got to try. I won't let Mom and Dad, all the people I know and love, die. Even by phasing straight through the ship, it'll nearly take forever. I might have read that in the wrong order. I've got to succeed. Behind Kitty, the battle rages on. And despite considerable odds against them, Nightcrawler and his allies not only hold their own, but they begin to turn the tide. A state of affairs which does not sit well with a certain renegade admiral. Incompetent dolts! Must I do everything myself? It's an illusion. Thank you, Job. Illusions, Michael, illusions. My daughter and I just started. For me, it's a rewatch, but for my 12-year-old, it's the first time ever watching Arrested Development.
Oh, sure.
And because she's been through other sitcoms recently, like enough times that I want her to watch something new because I feel like TV's rotting her brain, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And she got a good sense of humor, so yeah, she was laughing her butt off with Arrested Development. We're probably about 6 episodes in. It's
That's
really
awesome.
good, and it's not appropriate, but it's really good times.
We just started watching
Illusions.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine with kids, and they were
Right. So that's the
laughing.
one she's probably done 7 times.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, must I do everything myself? The combatants feel a moment of exquisite, unendurable agony as the brood weapon, mated secretly, to Benet, the smaller part of the Warstar symbiote, detonates. Man, Claremont and your fragmented run-ons, like, holy smokes, not easy to read this guy.
No.
Then, of course, they feel nothing. Meanwhile, unaware of what has befallen the others, this must be causing fits up on the bridge. See, she's phasing, so the electronics aren't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Once I've scrambled these primary computers, I've got to go after the secondary core. I have to be careful, though. I want to disable their big guns without damaging any life support systems. I don't want to hurt anyone. Though, for what she did to Peter, I think I'd cheerfully wring Deathbird's neck. By the way, much better face on Kitty here.
Much better face, yeah.
So intent is Kitty on her work that she fails to notice a hidden defensive weapon swing her way. She's in phasing mode, virtually intangible, confident that will protect her from harm. She wrong.
She's wrong.
David says, it's an illusion, Michael. Something a whore does for money or cocaine.
Delusion.
I could have had you all slain, Gladiator. But I thought it only fitting that you be present to witness my moment of triumph.
And I'm going to read this right.
Then you and Captain Kirk, who also foolishly opposed me, will be sent to a reward you most richly deserve. Sent to a reward? I mean, like your reward is death.
I think so.
That's cool. Captain Kirk.
Oh, yeah. No matter what you do to us, you'll find this a fleeting, hollow victory, traitor.
One regime's traitor is often another's hero, Gladiator. It all depends on who wins. But whatever my final fate, neither of you, your companions, nor that pathetic little planet will be able to see it. Weaponeers! Main batteries! Fire!
At the speed of light, a bolt of antimatter plasma erupts toward North America, targeting on San Francisco. Did you drove or did you flew? It's an old SCTV bit for you. You don't know Sid Dithers, do you?
A little bit.
Okay. There's a supercut of all the time Sid Dithers, played by Eugene Levy,
Yeah, usually, yeah.
says, San Francisco, did you drove or did you flew? And it's ridiculous, but I love it. It will strike with the force of a gigaton H-bomb, vaporizing everything within a 100-mile radius of ground zero and splitting the planetary crust along the major fault lines that rim the Pacific Ocean. But at far faster than the speed of light, skidding out of warp space at the last instant is an awesome display of engine power and astrogatational. What? Is that a word?
Astrogational? Astrogational?
Yes, astrogational. Gastrointestinal skill.
He's just making up things.
The slightest error would have resulted in the destruction of both the ship and much of the terrestrial hemisphere, thereby doing Samadar's work for him. ... Holy smokes. The Starjammer intercepts the beam.
Ooh.
What? It's
What?
jamming a star.
Raspberry jam. Only one person would dare to use raspberry jam.
Lone Star.
Lone Star.
Simultaneously, Lalandra's holographic image appears on the command deck of every ship in the fleet.
Hear me, Shia. I am alive and well. No hostile action is to be taken against the Earth. Gladiator, why was the attack begun? Why are you under restraint? Where is my Chancellor?
Dead, Magistrix. Slain by Lord Samadar, who is in league with Deathbird.
Place him under arrest. Officers, release the X-Men and the Loyal Guard. Kirk, assume command and withdraw the fleet beyond Earth's moon. I shall beam aboard directly. End transmission. Poor Raki. I feared this when we couldn't contact him. I shall miss him.
Things looked and sounded pretty grim over there. I'm
Mr.
glad Kurt and Kitty are okay.
Yes, it seems Deathbird's conspiracy is far broader and deeper than I suspected.
And worse. You left out worse. This is much, much worse. She has outside help. The Brood. We have no idea where they came from, what they want, how to deal with them. I have a nasty feeling that needs some penicillin, but I've got a nasty feeling that compared to them, Deathbird's threat is negligible.
At least we saved the Earth. That's something, Pop. Well, look who's here. How do you feel, Peter? Better he is, better he will get. Assuming physician's orders he follows. I wish, Cyclops, the same could be said for Professor Xavier. According... Oh, no, it's Storms. That's according to Sikorsky, Storm says quietly. Oh, okay. It's,
Right. Go ahead. Read that out.
According to Sikorsky, Storm says quietly, while the professor's body is substantially unharmed, his brain may have been completely irrevocably destroyed. He will not die, but he may well live out the rest of his days as a mindless vegetable.
Next issue. Just when the X-Men thought they had had enough problems, enter the Brotherhood of
Enter
Evil
Sandman.
Mutants. Yes. This is crazy, by the way, how quickly that wrapped up. Like, hologram could be anybody.
Yep.
Like, can we get confirmation on that hologram, please? And I wouldn't mind seeing, like, some of these guards,
Yep.
like, turn off the gun, and then the ones that are loyal to Samadar,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, have a moment where there's, a changing of who's in command of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
But that Professor X face is going to haunt me in my dreams.
Oh yeah, that's a. Oh yeah, agreed.
And then there is not an image of the next issue, but I do have it in front of me now. At least in this Essentials edition, so I know who's in it.
Okay.
And I'm just going to tell you now, it's exciting.
Okay.
And we are not done with this cosmic tale.
We are not.
We are not. At least, I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit. I don't want to spoil, but there are a few things that have been like, well, the stuff with Xavier, right? This is a big deal.
Yeah.
He ain't okay. So that's going to carry into the next issue at least. We shall see. Like, this is a big kind of big epic, and it's going to impact X-Men forever.
Wow, the stakes are high, man.
Stakes are high.
Stakes are high.
High stakes. There you go.
Wow.
Professor Xavier is the proverbial vegetable.
Vegetable.
Yeah, this is there are a lot of things about this issue I really liked. I like, the switcheroo. I like the plot moving along.
Yeah.
But when you have so many characters, like, none of the fights are as great as they could be. Like, for me, the best scene would be Nightcrawler taking out those guys. That's what I really wanted to see.
I thought it was kind of badass that they, he sabotaged his own like War Star guy and robots kill everybody or hurt everybody. I'm like, that was a pretty neat twist.
I also would have preferred like that. The Shi'ar flagship's cannons are go, and they fire, and then like the next thing is the 2-page spread of the Starjammer getting in the way and all of like deflecting all that stuff and have it like a massive image. That would have been really dramatic. But when you write that much, there's no room for killing 2 pages for one thing you can describe. He'd rather describe it than let the penciler like really create that widescreen action. But I just imagine like Brian Hitch drawing this thing, like his work on Authority or on Ultimates, and it would have just been, or Quietly, same thing. Would have been just a massive, really cool space scene. Imagine Daniel Warren Johnson doing it. Like it would have been
totally
right.
Yeah, totally.
It would have been so much fun. So I'm interested to see where this stuff goes with the Brood. What's with the Professor? Does he have a Brood in his body? Like, is there one in there? And he's going to be, or is he connected to a Brood? Like is it
host mind? Yeah, it was creepy, right? Yeah, I'm keen to see where that goes for sure.
Me too. And then the Brotherhood is back, so I guess that means Mystique and Blob and maybe Rogue.
Maybe
right? She's with the Brotherhood. So we
an old gummy Destiny.
Yes. And the last time we saw the Brotherhood was in Avengers Annual 10.
Yes.
So soon we got to figure out where we're going to cut away from Uncanny X-Men for 4 weeks. And we're going to read something else for 4 weeks because it's time.
What are we?
I just got to figure out where in the sequence it best breaks. Maybe we wait and we'll see it. I think there is like there is a moment, but exciting. It's going to be a weird 180 of like change the writer kind of.
Okay,
we're going to read something by Claremont and somebody else. Okay. Anyone who we're going to read the Wolverine Limited series, right? We're going to read the Wolverine Limited series.
Right.
It matters. It just nothing is ever the same after that with the character and. So I'm looking forward to that in a big way. But that's very soon. Very, very, very soon. This guy right there.
Look at him.
I got to get Metal Claws for that. I don't like the Fire Claws. I'll get this one there too.
There you go.
And there's one right there in the brown and tan suit. Can't see.
There he is.
And there's a little one. There's one there.
Oh, yeah.
From Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And one there. From you can't see. He's in what do you call it? There he is. From the Legends from these days. Like the little 3 3/4 Legends. Lots of Wolverines in here. Lots and lots of Wolverines. But that's it, dude. We're done. That's issue 157.
That was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I don't tend to lean towards the cosmic story arcs is my favorite, but there can be a good fun yarn. This was a good fun yarn.
Yeah, I'm glad that we got this plot, resolved. The Empire is kind of maybe back under control. I think we don't know if Deathbird and the Brood are still out there. We're gonna see what happens with them.
We've only just scratched the surface of the Brood.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's going.
They're interested now in the X-Men to capture them. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know that Claremont has seen aliens. Right? Byrne and him did that one issue where there was a monster that was very clearly aliens inspired or alien inspired. So, this is in the cosmic, in the soup of consciousness of these creators. Like this is a new version of a monster you can play with, right? So it might be very interesting. Do you want to plug stuff? What do you want to do?
Let's see. Oh, hey, those are our comics that you were just holding up there. That number 8 there has been nominated for Best Comic Book, and you can vote on it until March 1st. Just hit up the links in our bios on our socials at Group 7 Comics, and you can vote for Best Comic Book, Peregrines Part 2, a.k.a. Group 7 Comics number 8. the sequential magazine awards. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
And the Kickstarter that we are part of, the Creator Visions card set that is being released through Raid Studio here in Toronto. That got funded on Kickstarter. One of the stretch goals was hit. So I think we're pretty keen to see. We've got seven character cards and team cards in that from our Group of 7 and Peregrines lines. So we're excited to see how that turns out and have some packs at our tables and for ourselves and to open cool cards that reference, those great Marvel cards in the 90s. And then lastly, the other thing I'd mention is we are at a show. We are coming up at Toronto Comic Con, March 17th and 19th, with probably a few of you, I think, in the chat even maybe. But we'll be there and we'll have all our stuff, our comics and everything going and prints and Lord knows what else we'll have.
There are at least two new X-Men prints that will be there.
At least 2 new X-Men prints. There you go, which is great because we're doing X-Men shows right now.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah. Anything else? We got the Kickstarter. We got
you hit it all, man.
We got the shows coming up. That's it.
That's great. Thank you for doing all those plugs. And by the way, I finally realized how to do hyperlinks in the description below.
What?
Before it was all
just level up. Done.
So yeah, you can go to the description below and click the link to go to our website. You can click the link to follow us on social media. At least I put Instagram there. I don't think I put any others.
That's the big
but
one.
Please do that. Please click like, subscribe to the channel, and put a comment in the comments. Let us know what you thought of the episode, or perhaps what you think some of the characters involved, like the Shi'ar, the Imperial Guard. Do you think Gladiator's cool? Is his mohawk cool, or is he's just a poser? You know what I mean? Let us know what you think. Please share, give us some feedback. Who knows? Anything would be really appreciated. And we're glad you could spend the time with us, and you got this way all the way to the end of the video. So thanks for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
All the regular social media goodbye stuff. There you go. Really glad you could be here. Chris, I hope you have a wonderful night. Everyone, thanks for hanging out in the chat with us. We greatly appreciate it. It was fun spending the last almost couple hours with everybody. And we will see you again next week with the next episode of Previously in X-Men.
Can't wait.
Mwah. Thank you very much.